Just before we move on, I'd just like to thank people for your support for Ruth and I over the last few days as to the news of our separation, and your support from both of us is very much appreciated.
For decades, Eamonn Holmes and Ruth Langsford were not just a couple on British television. They were a symbol of stability, warmth, and partnership in an industry often known for fleeting relationships. Their story began in the late 1990s, when both were building their careers and quickly captured the attention of viewers across the UK. Their chemistry on screen was natural and relatable, a combination of humor, teamwork, and genuine affection that audiences loved. For 27 years, they maintained a life and career together, culminating in a celebrated marriage in 2010. Their presence on shows like This Morning made them household names, and fans often felt like they were part of the couple's journey. However, in May 2024, Eamonn and Ruth shocked their audience by confirming their separation, ending what many had considered one of the longest and most stable marriages in British media. While their announcement was calm and respectful, it left fans with many questions. The lack of detail fueled speculation in tabloids and on social media, with everyone eager to know why a couple so admired by millions was now going their separate ways. The news was a reminder that even relationships that appear perfect in the public eye can face private challenges that viewers may never fully understand. Beyond the headlines, the story highlighted the delicate balance between personal life and professional responsibilities, a balance Eamonn and Ruth had navigated for years under constant scrutiny. This breakup was not just a personal event, it was a cultural moment, marking the end of an era for viewers who had followed their lives closely. The initial reactions were a mix of shock, sadness, and curiosity. Fans mourned the loss of the couple's unity on screen, while journalists and commentators began analyzing the possible reasons behind the split. For many, it was difficult to reconcile the smiling, playful pair they knew from television with the reality of a relationship that had quietly reached its end. The announcement made it clear that despite appearances, Eamonn and Ruth's personal journey was complicated and that the public only saw part of their lives. The silence after the announcement was deafening. Both Eamonn and Ruth chose to keep the details private, leaving the media to speculate and fans to imagine the challenges that might have led to this separation. This period of quiet only intensified the public's interest, setting the stage for Eamonn Holmes' later revelation, which would show just how much pain and struggle lay behind the public's smiles. After months of silence, Eamonn Holmes finally broke his calm public persona, speaking openly for the first time about the breakup with Ruth Langsford. This moment occurred at the TRIC Awards in London on June 26, 2024, and it revealed a side of Holmes the public had rarely seen. Known for his confident, quick-witted presence on television, Holmes appeared visibly weighed down by emotion as he addressed the challenges he was facing. He admitted bluntly, "I'm not okay. This is not a good time at all." These words resonated deeply because they were raw, honest, and unfiltered, a sharp contrast to the composed figure fans were accustomed to. By breaking the silence, Holmes highlighted the emotional toll of ending a 27-year relationship, showing that even experienced public figures can struggle when personal life is in turmoil. His honesty offered a glimpse into the private struggle behind the separation, confirming that the breakup was more than a quiet mutual decision. It was a deeply painful change. The audience witnessed Holmes confronting feelings of grief, confusion, and uncertainty, emotions that are often hidden from the public eye. His statement underscored the difficulty of separating personal identity from public persona, as someone constantly in the spotlight may feel pressure to appear strong even while suffering privately. Holmes's candid admission challenged the expectation that celebrities must remain stoic, reminding viewers that vulnerability is part of being human. At the same time, it offered an important perspective on the emotional complexity of long-term relationships ending after decades. Observers noted the stark contrast between Holmes's visible struggle and Ruth Langsford's later appearances, which were calmer and more measured. While Holmes seemed overwhelmed by the immediate aftermath of the separation, Ruth began processing her emotions more steadily, choosing reflection over emotional display. This contrast highlighted how individuals can experience the same life event differently, navigating grief and adjustment in unique ways. Holmes's TRIC Awards moment was not only about personal expression, it also drew attention to the intense public scrutiny faced by celebrities during personal crises. Fans and journalists alike watched closely, interpreting every gesture, pause, and word. In doing so, Holmes revealed the dual challenge of managing both personal heartbreak and public perception simultaneously. His openness, while painful, humanized him in the eyes of the public, showing that even familiar television personalities face struggles similar to those experienced by ordinary people. It was a rare and significant insight into the emotional life of someone usually seen as unflappable, and it set the stage for ongoing public discussion about both the breakup and Holmes's broader personal challenges, adding to the emotional impact of the separation. Eamonn Holmes was simultaneously facing serious health challenges. Earlier in 2024, he underwent a back operation intended to improve mobility, but complications from the procedure left him in chronic pain and reliant on mobility aids, including a high-tech wheelchair and walking aids. This unexpected development added a physical burden to the emotional strain of ending a long-term relationship. Holmes described feeling a loss of independence, noting that even attending public events required significant effort and caused him ongoing pain. The combination of declining health and marital separation created a complex web of challenges, each intensifying the other. Physically, Holmes's ability to move freely was limited, while emotionally, he confronted grief, uncertainty, and a sense of instability. He admitted that the struggle was constant, affecting not only his body but his mental resilience, making it difficult to maintain the confident public persona that viewers had long admired. These intertwined challenges revealed how personal crises rarely occur in isolation. Holmes's health issues amplified the emotional toll of the breakup, while the breakup itself likely affected his motivation and mental strength during recovery. The public witnessed this delicate balance when Holmes attended the TRIC Awards, visibly strained yet committed to fulfilling his professional responsibilities. This period of hardship offered a sobering look at the reality behind celebrity life. Fame does not shield anyone from pain, and public attention can intensify private struggles. Holmes's openness about his condition and the emotional impact of the breakup invited empathy from fans and fellow public figures, while also sparking discussions about mental health and vulnerability among those in the public eye. The convergence of personal loss and physical suffering painted a picture of a man navigating extraordinary pressure on multiple fronts, reminding viewers that resilience is often tested in unexpected ways. This context also helped explain some of the public tensions that later emerged, such as family challenges during holidays and differing approaches to handling media attention. By openly sharing these struggles, Holmes contributed to a broader understanding of how life-altering events affect both emotional well-being and physical health, offering an honest, human perspective that extended beyond tabloid speculation. While Eamonn Holmes was grappling with emotional and physical turmoil following the end of his marriage, Ruth Langsford took a markedly different approach. From the beginning, she emphasized reflection, self-growth, and resilience. In interviews conducted throughout mid-2024, she spoke openly about how the breakup had initially caused fear and uncertainty, especially regarding life on her own after years of partnership. Ruth described that, for a time, the thought of navigating life independently felt overwhelming. Yet, as months passed, she discovered clarity and confidence, gradually moving from survival mode into a period of self-discovery. She focused on establishing routine and personal stability, emphasizing that independence was not something to dread but a space to grow. Ruth's calm and deliberate approach contrasted sharply with Holmes's public displays of struggle, highlighting how people experience the same life event differently. While Holmes's journey was raw, immediate, and emotional, Ruth's was structured, thoughtful, and forward-looking. Her statements made it clear that she was reclaiming control over her own story, choosing to define her life beyond the framework of the marriage rather than being consumed by the breakup itself. She carefully avoided blame, instead framing the separation as a transition that allowed both parties to pursue new chapters in their lives. In doing so, Ruth modeled a form of emotional resilience that resonated with fans who admired her ability to face change with dignity. Her approach also reinforced the idea that healing is not uniform. Some individuals require time and reflection, while others process through emotional release. By presenting herself in this way, Ruth sent a message not only to the public but also to herself, acknowledging the challenges without allowing them to define her. Observers noted that her measured tone provided reassurance to fans who were concerned about her well-being, showing that even after a highly publicized breakup, it is possible to navigate personal upheaval with composure and strength. Ruth's strategy emphasized that public figures, despite their visibility, can actively shape the narrative surrounding their lives, taking ownership of their experiences and influencing how the public perceives events. This period of reflection laid the foundation for her next major move, the announcement of her memoir, which would further solidify her voice and perspective in the story of their separation. As 2024 progressed, the separation of Eamonn Holmes and Ruth Langsford began affecting not only the couple themselves, but also their family dynamics. Reports emerged during the holiday season that Holmes had not contacted his son, Jack, over Christmas, creating public speculation about the strain within the family. Traditionally, Christmas is seen as a time for unity, reconciliation, and togetherness. Yet in this instance, it became a symbol of the fractures caused by the end of a long-standing marriage. Sources close to the family suggested that Jack had aligned himself more closely with his mother, further widening the emotional gap between father and son. While neither Holmes nor Langsford publicly confirmed the details, the media portrayed the situation as a tense and delicate familial conflict, highlighting how the effects of a separation can extend beyond the couple to the broader family network. Ruth Langsford reportedly felt frustrated by the perceived silence from Holmes, interpreting it not simply as a marital issue, but as a failure to prioritize family during a critical moment. Observers noted that such tensions are common in high-profile separations, where public scrutiny intensifies personal decisions and family dynamics. Complicating matters, Holmes spent the holidays with his new girlfriend, Katie Alexander, marking a notable shift in his personal life. While some interpreted this as a positive step toward moving forward, others criticized the timing, suggesting it may have exacerbated family tensions. The media amplified every detail, interpreting actions and absences through a lens of speculation and narrative building, which added further pressure to an already fragile situation. The contrast between Ruth's dedication to family and Holmes's pursuit of a new relationship underscored the divergence in how they were coping with the breakup. While Langsford seemed focused on stability, emotional reflection, and maintaining connections with loved ones, Holmes appeared to prioritize rebuilding his personal life in new directions. This difference further fueled public discussion and debate about the emotional repercussions of separation, parental responsibilities, and the way high-profile individuals navigate personal transitions in the public eye. By examining this family strain, viewers gained insight into how private challenges can manifest publicly, highlighting the often overlooked human cost of celebrity breakups and the delicate balance between personal life, family, and public scrutiny. The media's role in the narrative surrounding Eamonn Holmes and Ruth Langsford cannot be overstated. From the moment their separation was announced, tabloids and news outlets dissected every statement, action, and public appearance, shaping public perception in ways the couple could not fully control. Holmes's brief, candid comments at the TRIC Awards were widely covered, often emphasizing his vulnerability and emotional struggle, while Ruth's reflective interviews were framed as composed and forward-looking. This contrast reinforced a narrative of diverging emotional journeys, with Holmes portrayed as struggling to adjust and Langsford as moving steadily toward recovery and self-definition. Commentators speculated on the motivations behind Holmes's remarks, interpreting them as indirect criticisms or veiled expressions of unresolved feelings. Meanwhile, Ruth's calm statements were celebrated as examples of emotional intelligence and resilience. Fans, too, took sides in some discussions, expressing support for one or both parties based on their perception of the couple's conduct. Social media amplified these reactions, creating ongoing dialogue and sometimes heated debate about the ethics of celebrity privacy, the timing of new relationships, and parental responsibility. The narrative constructed by media coverage shaped public understanding of the breakup, with every detail, from attendance at events to holiday arrangements, subject to interpretation and judgment. The scrutiny highlighted the difficulty of managing personal crises under public observation, especially when family and career intersect. For viewers, the story was compelling because it offered a mix of relatability and intrigue, relatable emotions such as heartbreak and fear, paired with the high-profile status of two well-known television personalities. Through media coverage, the public could observe not only the events themselves but also the dynamics of narrative construction, learning how framing, language, and selective reporting influence perception. The ongoing speculation kept the story alive months after the initial announcement, illustrating how celebrity breakups extend far beyond private spheres, impacting careers, family, and public image. For Holmes and Langsford, this period underscored the importance of managing both personal healing and public perception, a balance that would influence decisions such as Ruth's memoir, Holmes's public comments, and the manner in which they navigated family dynamics. In early 2025, Eamonn Holmes once again became a focal point of media attention following a series of public remarks that, while seemingly innocuous, were widely interpreted as subtle references to his ex-wife, Ruth Langsford. Speaking about his prolonged health struggles and the challenges he faced during the past year, Holmes thanked those who had supported him during what he described as the most difficult period of his life. Though he did not name anyone directly, observers and tabloids read between the lines, suggesting that the timing of his comments coincided with lingering tensions between him and Ruth. Holmes emphasized themes such as integrity, loyalty, and the value of people who stand by you when it matters most, which many interpreted as an implicit contrast to those he felt had not offered support. This delicate choice of words sparked debate, with some suggesting he was subtly criticizing Langsford, while others defended him, noting that his words were appropriate expressions of gratitude during a vulnerable period. The public response revealed the intricate dynamics of celebrity communication. Even carefully phrased statements can be scrutinized, interpreted, and sometimes distorted in ways that amplify perceived conflict. Holmes's approach illustrated the difficulty of balancing honesty and discretion, particularly when personal and public lives intersect. The emotional undercurrent in his remarks reflected the unresolved aspects of the separation, including grief, lingering hurt, and adjustment to a new chapter in life. In contrast, Ruth's public statements remained measured and controlled, reinforcing the perception of divergent coping strategies. The narrative that emerged from these events suggested that while Holmes continued to process his emotions in fragmented public moments, Langsford had adopted a more structured and proactive approach to personal healing. This contrast attracted commentary from journalists, media analysts, and fans, who speculated on the emotional dynamics between the former couple and how these dynamics would influence future interactions. Holmes's remarks also drew attention to the broader issue of celebrity vulnerability, highlighting the challenges of expressing emotion authentically while under constant scrutiny. Observers noted that, for all the speculation, Holmes's words conveyed genuine struggle and an effort to navigate personal pain responsibly, despite public misinterpretation. This episode underscored the complexity of managing emotion, narrative, and media perception simultaneously, particularly when personal setbacks, such as health complications, compound the emotional effects of a high-profile separation. In February 2025, Ruth Langsford announced a major personal project that further defined the trajectory of her post-separation life. Her memoir, Feeling Fabulous, scheduled for release in February 2026. The announcement captured immediate attention, not only because of Langsford's long-standing visibility on British television, but also because it represented her first major creative undertaking since the highly publicized end of her marriage to Eamonn Holmes. She made it clear that the memoir was not intended as a tell-all or exposé, but rather a reflective account of personal growth, resilience, and self-discovery. Langsford framed the book as an opportunity to share life lessons, explore professional pressures, and examine the ways in which personal transformations, including her divorce, shaped her identity. By presenting the memoir in this way, she reclaimed authority over her own narrative, contrasting sharply with media-driven speculation and the fragmented public statements of Holmes. The book also positioned Langford as proactive rather than reactive, demonstrating that personal empowerment can emerge from periods of significant challenge. Anticipation for Feeling Fabulous quickly grew, with fans and commentators eager to understand how Langford would frame her experiences and what insights she might offer about navigating life after a long-term relationship. The memoir represented not just a personal project but a strategic tool for controlling her own story, allowing her to reflect on the breakup in a structured, intentional, and dignified manner. Observers noted that Langford's decision to speak through her writing, rather than through interviews or direct commentary on social media, allowed her to maintain privacy while shaping public perception. Her focus on resilience, forward movement, and emotional clarity offered a counterpoint to Holmes's more fragmented and emotionally raw public appearances. The memoir promised to provide fans with an intimate perspective on the challenges and triumphs of redefining identity after profound personal change, highlighting the capacity for recovery, reflection, and empowerment. In doing so, Langford not only charted her own course in the wake of a high-profile separation but also set an example for how public figures can reclaim control over their narrative while maintaining dignity, perspective, and emotional authenticity. The contrast between Eamonn Holmes and Ruth Langsford's approaches to their separation became increasingly apparent in 2025. Holmes, though candid about his struggles and vulnerabilities, often appeared reactive, processing emotions through sporadic public statements and occasional media appearances. His openness provided a window into the immediate aftermath of the breakup, including grief, confusion, and frustration, yet left the impression of unresolved pain. Langford, in contrast, adopted a forward-looking, reflective approach, emphasizing self-growth, independence, and emotional steadiness. The differences in coping styles became a central narrative in the media, shaping public perception of the couple's journey. Fans, journalists, and commentators noted that while Holmes struggled with adjustment and the weight of health and emotional challenges, Langford demonstrated measured control over her narrative, exemplified by her upcoming memoir. The public discourse surrounding their separation often focused on these divergent styles, highlighting the varied ways individuals process emotional upheaval. This contrast also underscored broader truths about personal resilience, illustrating that recovery from a significant life change is rarely uniform and is influenced by personality, support systems, and individual coping strategies. The media's portrayal of these differences added complexity to the public story, framing Holmes as vulnerable but struggling to regain equilibrium and Langford as reflective, empowered, and in command of her journey.